the first time that it happened, it was really tough because I feel like nobody really thinks that it'll happen to them.
You're a very smart individual. You knew what to do. There probably was a point where you had no idea what you were doing.
That's what changed the business. That at that point is when, kind of looked at each other and I said to her, I'm like, might make sense for me to help you with this. It just took getting beat down several times to be able to really understand, like, that's the price you have to pay. And there's nobody who built anything great that does not go through that same thing.
I feel like since I've known you, I feel like you're the type of person, you get an idea and you kind of just go for it.
Yeah. You build anything great, you're gonna have people who don't like you. You're gonna have people who are like, oh, I want things to go back to the way that they were. Well, those people also aren't growing.
How do you get to Six Cycle and go from sales to now I'm an owner?
Six Cycle is a place where you can come, to ride to release your stress, boost your confidence, and find inner peace.
This show exists so you can learn from those who work in silence. By amplifying their voice, they will educate us not on what they do, but how they do. Everything you will see is curated by my business partner, MGB Memory and Nick Essential Films. It would mean the world to me if you would like, subscribe, and hit the notification. That way we could bring the guests that matter to you and this channel can stay running. Again, my name is Nick Essential, the owner of Nick Essential Films, and this is The Platform.
I believe I could find more happiness with your
Our next guest was once traveling the country, whitewater kayaking. He then became a very successful salesman, making well over 6 figures a year in the sales world. Today, he runs one of the most successful fitness studios in the Lehigh Valley, not by grinding harder, but by building systems, setting standards, and developing culture. He's a husband, a father, and a business owner who leads by example in everything he does. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Platform, Jared Nosal.
Appreciate it, Nick. Yeah, good to be here. Stoked you're doing this.
I'm glad you're here, man. Like, I took a little page off of your book because I saw you doing this as well. And yeah, man, as soon as I put my list together of people to talk to, I knew that you had to be one of those people. So
yeah, every time we chat too, it's just great conversation.
Exactly.
So really excited for this.
Yeah, I feel like every time we talk, it's like a little mini podcast.
For sure.
So now it's like, let's share with the world, right?
Totally.
Cool. So, Jared, before people knew you as a business owner or the guy behind Six Cycle, one of the people behind Six Cycle, what did they know you for?
This is such a loaded question because I feel like I have lived so many lives in my 30 years. You have like the high school version of me who was, an athlete, wrestled, played football. Then I went to East Stroudsburg to play football and, kind of gave that up very quickly once I got there. And not having any sports, I needed to really kind of like find my identity again. As a kid, you grow up your entire life playing sports and what do you do? What do you do next? And it's the only reason I went to college. So joined a fraternity, connected with a group of guys there, and then I needed something active to do. And I also needed a job, like college isn't cheap. So I got a job as a whitewater river guide, and that just totally opened up a new door. It's a pretty extreme sport. It's a solo sport, so a lot different than, what I was used to playing football. But that allowed me to continue to like push myself and develop new skills and get around a different group of people, which then, led me to several sponsorships, the biggest one being a kayak brand, Piranha Kayaks.
Okay.
So once I graduated college, then I moved down to Asheville, North Carolina, where I worked full time with them in their warehouse, as well as, traveling the country, setting up booths at events, talking to people, demoing kayaks and all that good stuff. So people like, from way back when knew that transition. And then I very quickly realized that I can't live the lifestyle I want to live, making $12 an hour, working at their warehouse, although it was a shit ton of fun. It was just 5 of us there. And we played ping pong, like if we didn't have anything to do, right? So it was so much fun.
Yeah.
But you can't really like grow like that. You can't level up. So from there, I went and got my CDL and I became a truck driver, first real big boy job that I had. And very quickly after, COVID hit. And, my partner at the time, she lost her job and it was just me. But I really got fed up with working for other people. Getting talked down to, especially as someone who's like brand new in a company, like what kind of fucking culture is this that I just joined?
Yeah.
So very quickly after getting my CDL and working with that company, then I was looking for different positions, and this one insurance sales job came up, and I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna figure it out. So
Okay.
I ended up applying. I turned in my truck, went to Colorado for 3 weeks, just lifestyled around Colorado, lived in my van. It's fucking awesome. And then I came back, got my insurance license, and then there was like that phase of my life. So I've had all these like different identities, and over my 30 years, just really spent a lot of time like figuring out who I am, what I want to do, and like what I want my life to look like. And with that came trying something. Does this work? I don't really know. New thing over here, trying that. And I feel like that's the only way to like grow, is like figure out who you are and what you want to do by trying something, not like necessarily staying locked into one thing your entire life. And one door opens, you walk through it, and all of a sudden you have all these different doors. Another one opens, opportunities there, you walk through it, and it opens up a totally different set of doors. So my life in the last, even 10 years from college to now has just been so many different chapters. So you'll have people from all over the country that know different parts of me, and then we've disconnected as life went on, and maybe they still only know that part of me, right? So I've had so many different chapters in my book already. It's kind of even wild to think about.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I love the fact that you said, one door opens up a possibility, but then when you're there and you're living it a little bit more, you start to see all the other doors that just opened. That's amazing. And I think it goes back to the personality type of person you are. You mentioned before that getting out of college, and especially being a football player, that identity sticks with you, right? And once football's over, it's like, holy shit, what now, right? But it doesn't seem like you're the type of person that really stuck, like that didn't stick in your head for long, right? You tried something else, right? I feel like since I've known you, I feel like you're the type of person, you get an idea and you kind of just go for it.
Yeah.
Right? Is that kind of something that's followed you since you were young all the way up to now?
It's funny that you asked that, because my parents always called me impulsive.
Okay.
It's like, you just like do shit. Like something pops in your head and you just do it. Like, and my parents were like, being impulsive is bad. And to a point, they're right.
Okay.
Right? If you just make a snap decision based off emotion, you make a bad one, sure, it can totally be bad. But I have carried that characteristic throughout my life, as far as like, I have an idea, let's try it. Let's see what happens. And a lot of the time, it's also worked out incredibly well. Success loves speed. And when you drag out like any kind of decision making, sure, there's like some things that are like huge decisions, and like maybe you should take a day to talk about it and think about it, but thought is also instantaneous. So, if I tell you to think of an elephant, you probably already thought of it. Like, thought is instantaneous. So it doesn't take, long to really think about something and decide if you want to do it. And success loves speed. So yeah, I'm always someone to just kind of like jump on something, jump off the cliff, and I will try to find a parachute on the way down. And if it doesn't work out, you just brush yourself off and you keep it going. But I do know, like, a lot of my college friends too, they seem like lost, or like not super stoked on their life, and they graduate from college, and then all their friends go away, and they're just kind of still in that same identity that they were, and like that was the peak of their life. Like, my life keeps peaking. Like, there's another peak. Like, holy shit, my life just got a lot better. I mean, now I'm a husband and a dad, and I run Six Cycle with my wife, who's the founder of the studio, and it just keeps getting better. So
No, I like that.
It's crazy.
I like that. And I also think when you have that personality, when you're that type of person that likes to take, the next step or actually make something happen, the impulsiveness, right? You also can quickly go by a no or a rejection, right? You can kind of move on a little bit faster, right? Where people get stuck in those senses. Like, I feel like you're the type of person, all right, it didn't work out. Cool, I already got another idea by the point that one didn't work out, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody fears rejection because nobody doesn't want to not belong. Like, if you think about just like humans in general, we're a tribal people, and rejection often means like death, right? If you're out of the tribe, you're on your own, you're done, right? So it's like, it's so deep in our core of who we are just as human beings that we don't want to be rejected. But the thing about rejection is you need to get through a bunch of no's and a bunch of things that don't work before you find something that does work. It's not rejection, right? And it's just, the only way that you fail is if you stop. If you get rejected a couple times and then you're like, you know what, screw this. You only didn't make it work because you stopped. You stopped finding ways to make it work. So yeah, rejection is pretty easy. I don't see it that way. And like, when I have these conversations with people, because I do all like the new rider onboarding and the new member onboarding in the studio. Nobody else does it. I look for ways to get somebody to say no, because that's how I can, help them change their life, because I know they're ready to say it. So by using that to help them, it's huge. So rejection is just something holding them back.
That onboarding is by choice that you do it?
Right now. So we're building out the system for it.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll have to go through the trenches and learn what we want to do, things that work for our brand, things that don't work for our brand, experiment, quickly get rid of the things that don't work, and then try new ideas, put new stuff in, see what works, keep that, and then just keep building different things.
Very cool. So before we get into that brand, that special brand that you guys have built over these past couple years, how did you go from being that sales guy, right? And like I said before in your intro, you were very successful at it. You made a good amount of money.
Yeah.
You were doing great. How do you go from being that salesman to now being an owner of a thriving fitness company out here in the Lehigh Valley?
It's all the same, And the funny thing about sales is everybody is a salesperson. Everybody. Like you have a partner, you had to sell yourself to them as far as like why they should be interested in you. You had to contact me as far as why I should be on this podcast, right? I had to contact you as far as why you should work with us at Six Cycle and, video our stuff. You're always in sales. Sales is very, very simple. Doesn't mean that it's easy, but sales is just getting somebody to change. That's all it is. And you find problems, and can your solution fix their problem? And then it's my job to help somebody see that and help them make the change that they know that they should be making. So being somebody that, I was, on the streets, door knocking, that's that job that I had there, and doing that portion of it is no different from when I meet somebody and, tell them about Six Cycle and I know that they're having struggles, or somebody contacts us and they book a consultation and they're with me in person at the studio or, on a Zoom call. It's all the same thing, and we're always selling every single day. Always selling. If Emma wants to change my mind on where we want to go eat, she's trying to sell me on her idea. So you're always in sales. It is like the number one skill to learn and master, is because then you have so much potential in like getting a lot of what you want out of your life, but also making a positive impact on other people.
Which I think that's definitely a big part of being happy with what you're selling now, or being, being able to back your brand so much, is because you're actually changing these people's lives, right?
Yeah.
People come to you with a problem, a big problem that they have, and you're able to really obviously sell that product, but then you're not just selling some bullshit. You're selling something that's going to change people. And I've come to see that with Six Cycle. I've come to see that all your clients have built this type of culture there. And it's very cool to see that, right? So now, from you being a salesperson to having that sales mindset, how do you get to Six Cycle and go from sales to now I'm an owner? That's a big leap, right? Obviously, you're still doing the sales, but being an owner, now you have different things you have to do. You have different people you have to manage. You have all these things that are on the table now. How do you go from being that salesman to now being an owner of a company?
Yeah. And to me, it's really the same position. Kind of like I described, sales is getting people to change. And, as an owner or leader in the building, it's my job to sell the vision and sell the mission and get buy-in and bring a group of people together to accomplish the mission together. Like that's the biggest thing, right? And when you can do that and you can find as many A players as possible and get people, I learned from one of my mentors, Mike Arcee. He has this saying, you want the right people in the right seats doing the right things right. And if you can accomplish that, then you're cooking with fire, right? So my job, as a co-owner and as a leader, is to get people in the right seats, show them how to do the right things and how to do those things right. And then that's when the scaling happens, because you can only really do so much by yourself, But yeah, you do have to pay attention to all the little annoying things and, put out fires. It's almost like I should have wore a fire hat, right? It's like you just put out fires all the time, and that's part of it. But that also comes through learning how to put out fires, learning how to prevent fires in the first place. But you'll never prevent all the fires. So you have to put a good amount of them out throughout your journey. But yeah, getting people to buy in, getting them to do the right things, getting them to be empowered When you empower your team to make decisions, they don't need you. Like, that's how you know you have a pretty solid team. Hey guys, here's the vision. This is what we got to do. How do you think we should execute on this? And then bringing people together, they get buy-in. They own parts of the process.
They get a voice in it.
And then that increases their ownership in the process. And they have different ideas and different experiences that I don't have. I don't have all the answers. I fuck up all the time. You know, it's like, all right, that didn't work. My bad. You know, what else you guys got? You know, how can we improve this? Taking an idea, think this is the best one that we have. Let's do it and see how it goes. That's pretty much all it is.
So building that A-star team, right? All these A players, putting them all together. What are some standards that you guys put in order to be a part of a Six Cycle?
Yeah.
And be a, you know, an employee of that company?
Yeah, all of our core values, you have to embody them, and it has to be part of who you are already, not who you aspire to be. So there's a couple things. One, we figure it out and we get shit done. We don't always have the answers, but you're gonna find the answers and you're going to accomplish the mission. GSD, get shit done. Second's radical accountability. We don't place any blame, we don't point fingers. If you made a mistake, you own it. My bad, gotcha, how can I be better? And then you go and be better. That also goes up. Like, our people manage up. Hey, Jared, you know, you've been missing the mark a couple times here. I'm like, I totally have. You know, thanks for calling that out. How can I help support you? Okay, got it. Stay curious. Find ways to learn and develop, okay? Like, if you're not growing, you're dying. So always be learning different ways to be better, to continue to level up. Be the standard. I'm wearing it on my shirt right now. You know, it says we are the standard. What be the standard means is we lead from the front. We bring other people with us. We lead by example. Okay, and we encourage other people to be better. Okay, and check it out the door. So we all have shit that goes on in our lives, but our job in our studio is to solve other people's problems and not put our problems onto them. So yeah, you might have had the worst day of your life, but if you showed up to work, then it's part of our standards of we deliver an experience to people, you know? So that's super, super important. And then the last one is sweat the details. Little things matter. And if you forget a little thing, if you don't pay attention to a little thing, like, that doesn't matter. That's going to unravel everything. So it's like, if there's a piece of paper on the floor and somebody walks past it, what else are you gonna walk past, right? Then it really just snowballs into a whole bunch of different other stuff. So yeah, really it's embodying our core values of who we are. We also expect our members to take on these core values. Like, our core values are so ingrained in what we do that when we look to partner with people and help, you know, work with them on their fitness journey, it's really important that they understand the kind of studio that they're joining, because we have some fun classes, but there's dozens of studios in the Lehigh Valley that do fun classes. If you want to make some serious change and like, this is the kind of person you want to become, we'll teach you how to do that. But it's really about understanding the kind of studio and kind of, you know, community that you're joining, because our other members, like, they wear our core values. They embody them. You ask a member at the studio, chances are 9 out of 10 people know all of our core values, you know? So it's what we expect.
Yeah, you're building a culture there. It's bigger. It's bigger than just the individual there. It's a collective of thoughts and all these different values that you guys hold. I think before we get into like your members, if somebody just came to the Lehigh Valley for the first time ever and they were like, what is Six Cycle? How would you best explain that to them?
Yeah.
For somebody that's never came across either cycling as a cycling class or anything.
Yeah, Six Cycle is a place where you can come, you can ride to release your stress, boost your confidence, and find inner peace. And that's what we do. That's what we do. And as we've continued to grow, you know, as you know, like with our new partnership with Resistance that we just gained, you know, we're opening our doors, if you will, to be able to solve more problems, to give everybody everything that they need under one roof while having a shit ton of fun doing it, you know, but that's what we do.
I like that. All right. So going back to these standards that you hold yourself accountable to and the people that work with you, and then the members that join on board also hold themselves accountable to these standards. Have you had any bad experiences along the way with people that, all right, these are standards, and then, you know, things go left? How do you deal with a person like that?
Yeah, man, it's happened so many times. And we've only been around since October of 2021. So, you know, going on 5 years this year, you know, this will be our 5th year. And when we opened, you know, Emma specifically, because I wasn't, you know, on board yet, But when she opened, it was really just a fun place to work out, right? Without any standards, without any expectations, without any processes, any systems, without really any team, right? And then things started building in from there. However, the problem with that is then once you build a culture of no culture, or you have a team that has no standards, what happens then when you try to implement these standards? You have the wrong people, potentially in the wrong seats, doing the wrong things wrong, right? It's very opposite of what I told you that we do, right? People, right seats, doing the right things right. So then it's like building like a card house. A little bit of wind, it all falls down. And that's happened a couple times now. And the first time that it happened, it was really tough because I feel like nobody really thinks that it'll happen to them. And we had a lot of people on the team who were like super, super close, you know, to us. And then it just like, it destroyed a lot of relationships, you know, and to a point where Em and I kind of backed up a little bit, took some steps back, kind of isolated ourselves, if you will, to like really understand where we're going, how things are going to be developing, how we see things, you know, growing, if these pains are worth it. Like, dude, we've had those doubts, you know, as most people building anything great will. And we decided to rebuild again, and we made a lot of different changes, right? Now we had core values, now we had a mission statement, we had a vision statement, we had an idea of what we wanted, but there were still no systems in place as far as like ways to run things. So as we started implementing these systems, the job became way harder for people. You make the job a lot harder for people, generally they have less fun doing it. And 100% our fault of not being great at selling the why up front. You don't sell the why, you have no reason for your team to buy in. That's our fault. So the card house crumbled again. And now we're on the third time really of rebuilding this thing, of where we really have a great idea of our mission, our vision, our core values, what we're building. Our team is bought in. Our team holds each other accountable. Our members hold each other accountable. Like, it really is the full picture of like what we saw in the first place. It just took getting beat down several times to be able to really understand, like, that's the price you have to pay. And there's nobody who built anything great that does not go through that same thing. Everybody you admire, you know, they built shit tired, frustrated, angry, broke, like backs against the wall. So, you know, our story's no different. We're just another example of like, all right, you paid your dues there, you know, and we got to the other side because we just like, fucking, I'm not quitting. You know, you're mad at me, okay. You don't like me, okay. Life goes on. You're like, their lives have gone on.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know, and here we are too. So it's just part of the process. You know, you build anything great, you're gonna have people who talk shit. You're gonna have people who don't like you. You're gonna have people who are like, oh, I want things to go back to the way that they were. Well, those people also aren't growing. You know, so that's just the way it works.
Yeah, and going back to the way things once were, those people are no longer here. So,
and we keep having better years and better years and
Exactly.
better years. So I mean, numbers don't lie. You know, what we were doing back then pales in revenue to what we were doing now and profitability.
Yeah.
So it shows, right? And we did that through the hard times of like everything falling apart. We rebuilt kind of quickly and we grew. And then it fell apart again and we rebuilt kind of quickly and we just finished our best year ever again. So it's worth it, you know, but everybody's going to have to go through it.
can I take you back to when you said, you know, when you first kind of got there, it was a fun place to be at?
Yeah.
Right? It's a fun place to be at. You're there. Everybody's having fun, but you come in and you're like, all right, these systems.
Oh, yeah. This is a fun time in the business.
It's a fun time in the business because you come in and you're like, we got to implement these systems. We got to really get things in order. And I'm sure you learned these things from somewhere, right? Maybe share like a little bit of where you came up with these systems, how you went to apply them, and why they matter so much when you're trying to really scale a business.
Yeah. Are you a sports fan?
Yeah, somewhat, yeah.
So I don't watch college football.
Okay.
You know, I coach high school football. I watch some pros. But there's a really cool thing going on in the college football playoff right now with Indiana. You know, Kurt Signetti, I think it's his third year there maybe. Do you know how many 5-star players he has on his team? 5-star recruits?
5.
0.
Wow.
you know how many 4-star recruits he has on his team? 7. So it shows that it is not about necessarily the star power star athlete. Like college football is super crazy with the NIL and the transfer portal and everyone's trying to get their bag and be a star and all this different stuff, where teams are literally, their culture is crumbling because no one's staying at the university that they went to. There's no buy-in to these programs. Like you don't have these Tim Tebow moments anymore, you know, 30 minutes for the rest of our lives kind of speech, because people are coming and they're going, they're coming and they're going. And Kurt Cignetti has been able to build a powerhouse program, #1 seed in the college football playoff, with 0 5-star recruits and only 7 4-star recruits. That is insane. So it really shows the power of culture. It shows the power of structure. He has systems, he has procedures, he has ways of doing things where he has good players running incredible systems. But if you're an organization or a team, like sports team, you know, just using the same example, that has incredible players, but an average system, you're gonna fail. Same thing goes with like the buy-in that I told you about, right? Like imagine the buy-in that his university has right now with no stars, nobody. And it's crazy. So flashing back to that time period of coming in for the first time, you know, I stepped away from the insurance gig, made a small little transition selling demolition services, you know, in the construction space, very short. And I put together this promo for Emma, right? It was her birthday in January, like the new year. I'm like, why buy a gift if I can just get you a shit ton of clients? So I did, and got her, you know, at the end of it, it was 63 paid for clients in the month of January of 2023.
Brand new clients.
2024.
Brand new.
Yeah, we sold like 160 some trials, and then 60 plus of those became full paying members. So it radically changed the business, you know, in 1 month, totally different business.
You gave her this as a present? You said
I did it for a month.
Okay.
For 30 days or 31, however many days are in January. I ran this play every single day for hours.
Okay.
And that's how many people I got on a paid trial into the door. From those 160 plus, we converted over 60 of them into full paying memberships.
Okay.
That's what changed the business. That at that point is when, you know, kind of looked at each other, and I said to her, I'm like, might make sense for me to help you with this, because the business was doing, you know, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 of revenue a month. You do the math, like running a gym is expensive. So there were several times, you know, eviction notices were handed out, and it's like backs against the wall, you know, made some last second, you know, donations to keep it going, put this play together, boom, business blew up. And from there, that's when I came on, you know, on the team fully. And I was just doing some stuff behind the scenes, like with the front desk and like the sales part of it. And some friction between me and the people who were there, you know, started to develop, because at that point in time too, our front desk staff, they just got traded a free membership. So they weren't on payroll, they weren't getting paid. And it was just like, hey, what's your name? Oh, Nick. Click. All right, you're good. So like, what's your experience like if that's your first time in the studio doing something like spin? What do you do? What bike are you on? Do you need shoes? How do you set this thing up? Like, that was the experience. So it's like looking at all these stuff, like all these different things, is understanding that like our member experience was lacking, and also our sales system was lacking. You know, I was able to sell my ass off for a month, but when someone comes in, like, what do our front desk staff members do, right? So building that out, a lot of friction happened, okay? Then from there, like understanding how class structures work, right? Like now that we have all these different class types, our instructing team is, you know, mandated to have this kind of song here, this kind of song there, in a specific order, because it delivers a certain experience that we found to be most impactful. So now we onboard someone, it's like, hey, when you teach this kind of class, you have ba 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 ba. You have all these songs in a row, instead of leaving it up to chance and, you know, hindering the member experience, delivering like a subpar shitty workout. So when all these different things happened and I came on board, everyone was like, this guy's the problem. This place sucks now. You know, now there's rules. Get him out of here. They fucking they wrote this huge document of like, you need to fire Jared. And we just got rid of everybody that signed that document. It was pretty much me, Emma, and 2 people left.
Okay, they sent it to HR, and you're HR now?
They said, yeah. It's like, yeah. So I came on full, you know, Emma and I are still dating, but they sent this.
So for obviously we're gonna touch on Emma
yeah.
later on, but for those people that don't know, because you mentioned her a couple times, who is Emma?
Emma is my wife, and she is the founder of Six Cycle.
Okay.
Yeah, she opened Six Cycle without me.
Okay.
She was gracious enough to allow me to come on and help me build her dream.
Perfect.
Yeah, allow me to help her build her dream.
Continue on how you were helping her build that dream.
Yeah, so that's why I said, like, when you introduce this question, I'm like, dude, this is a super fun time in the business because we grew so much. Like, I'm really glad that this stuff happened because it's through adversity that, your character is created. And when all this different stuff was happening, we're like, all right, pretty immediately, fuck them all. They're all gone. So anybody who signed that document, they were out. And I believe, if I remember
really
correctly,
put a page together to try to get you out of there?
there was like 28 different points, and about 18 of them were about me and how I'm changing the business for the worse.
Wow.
So we're like, well, you can't just send a document to ownership and, you're just some front desk staff or an instructor who's like, yo, screw this guy when I'm the one making the business money.
Yeah, meanwhile, you just got 63 clients the first time you actually attempted to do any of the things you wanted to do.
To their point, okay, I do take accountability for the fact that we were not great at showcasing the why and casting the vision and getting buy-in before we started making a lot of these changes.
Okay.
Had we done that, it very well could have been a totally different outcome. Very well could have. However, to that point as well, you have to be you have to be willing to make mistakes, learn from them, and not just be like, oh, it's all their fault. They're gone because they sent the document. Yes. But they sent the document because we were not we weren't super talented in casting a vision and getting buy-in and selling the vision at the time. That's why the document got sent.
Okay.
So there was friction there to that point, but that's when things started to happen. So when I came on, sold a bunch, we started making a bunch of different changes. We started making them really fast because time doesn't wait. And
Impulse.
yeah, impulse. But two, it's like, you work in a fitness industry, everybody's part-time. Everybody is there for an hour, 2 hours of their day, and then they're off. Like we don't have, even to this day, like someone works from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then we have someone from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. or something like that. Like we don't have that. We have people who are there for their class time and then they're out. So if I'm waiting for everybody, I'm going to be waiting a long fucking time. Things do have to happen quick, and we need a team, of A players who can respond to change very, very quickly.
And it's also, with knowing that aspect of the fitness industry, right? If they're only there for 1 to 2 hours at a time, these things aren't much of an ask, right? Because for a regular person, that's probably their part-time job, right? For a majority of them, that they come and teach at Six Cycle or do their thing at Six Cycle, they're in and out. Like what you're asking shouldn't be that much to find the right people to put in those positions.
But would you agree that people are generally pretty hesitant to change and resistant to it?
For sure. I think especially if they're used to doing something a certain way and all of a sudden things get shaken up. And also I think it goes to show like there were things being done wrong, right? A sense that you brought up the fact that the front desk person was getting a membership in exchange for work.
But we couldn't afford to pay anybody.
Okay.
So it's like, you're making $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 of gross revenue. That's before rent. That's before software. That's before paying instructors. That's before, and we didn't even really have like much retail at the time. But like that's before that stuff. That's before bike repairs.
Yeah.
Before insurance.
Yeah.
That's fucking no money.
Yeah.
It's $0.
No, I agree. But in a sense too, like as a person, if I had that position, it kind of devalues my position.
It makes it worthless.
Yeah, it makes it worthless. Because then what if I don't want to work out today? But I got to come in and do my
Hey, what's your
front desk
name?
stuff. Yeah,
Right,
like,
right.
I don't come in with the same mindset. So it's cool that you came in and kind of changed these things. Now, you're a very smart individual. You knew what to do. But obviously, there probably was a point where you had no idea what you were doing, right?
Yeah.
How do you come up with these things? What did you see somebody else do this before and implement these little processes? Like, how do you get to a thought, idea, boom, I know we got to do this, and now we finally executed it? Like, what does that look like?
Hire a coach. That's what we did. So we joined a mentorship program, specifically aimed at fitness studios called Loud Rumor, and they helped us a ton of understanding, blind spots in the business, in, our different systems. We went to our first fitness conference, in Austin, Texas, and we didn't have any core values at that time. So it's like we made, to us at the time, 22,000 in January of 24, was a ton of money. That's, 2+ times the amount that we were doing, the 8, 9, 10. So, and then all of a sudden, boom, 22. We're like, holy shit. All right, like we have to do stuff to keep it where it is. Otherwise it will go back. So we invested in mentorship. We don't have the answers. I was 1099 in insurance, but it's way different when you're in a different industry and you have a physical location and you don't just knock on doors, sell things, get a commission and be on your way, right? So
even in that process too, to sell things, you're not the person doing anything after the sale was made. You're not handling the process of that sale and that money physically getting into the bank account of that company. Just making a sale and boom, boom, bye.
Yeah, collecting the account number, putting it on the app and sending it off,
Yeah.
and then that's pretty much it. So a lot of front end work, not a lot of back end. And even though I was 1099, I came on board to something that was already systematized. That's the right word. There was already a system in place. So all I had to do was run the system. But I also had to learn how to sell. So we did this. How do we keep this trending, right? So we invested in mentorship. Let's get around other people who are doing what we want to do, or on the same path, and in a room where people are where we want to be. And that was this program. So when we went to Austin, Texas for the first time, we had no core values, we had no mission statement, we had no vision statement, and that conference was all about people and leadership. Holy shit, we went back and that was when things started to change at Six Cycle. That's when the systems and the procedures and the values and everything started to get integrated. But that's also when, people want to point their finger at me because I'm the new guy, right? They're like, it's his fault. It's his fault. Get him out of here, right? But it was really just a lack of, any kind of business knowledge of when Six Cycle first started to where it is now. Just mistakes.
Yeah, and they're pointing the fingers because the class is no longer fun, right?
Dude, the class is more fun than it's ever been. The class is more fun than it's never been, but we don't sell fun classes. Dude, I've been to so many classes around the Lehigh Valley. Newhouse has fun classes. Fitness Factory has fun classes. OTF has fun classes. F13 has fun class. You can find your fun class literally anywhere. Doesn't make you different. So our classes they've gotten way more fun. But that's not what we do. We just don't give fun classes. They just happen to be fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're here to actually make a change,
That's it.
right? And
So
the change is uncomfortable.
That's what we focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, since we first met, one of the biggest things I've noticed about you, which I think is great, you and Emma, you guys definitely lead by example, right? So if you're saying, hey, you need to follow this meal plan that we've provided for you because it's going to give you A, B, C, and D results, right? If you were 230 pounds and you're chewing on a McDouble when I'm walking in and you're like, I wouldn't believe you, right? But you're telling me this, I'm looking at you like, damn, bro, this guy's benching 3 plates on the last commercial we did, right? So
Yeah.
So I'm like,
One rep.
it makes it a lot more believable, but it's cool that you guys hold yourselves to these standards. So how important do you think it is to lead by example to then, successfully lead that business?
Yeah, I mean, it's what my t-shirt says. We are the standard, and it doesn't mean that we're better than anybody else. It doesn't mean that Six Cycle's the best studio in town. What it just means is it's an identity and a value that we hold of we lead from the front. We set the example. We encourage other people to follow. We bring other people up with us. We hold other people accountable. Okay, we're always the first ones to do something. We live a life of purpose, and we be of service to others. That's in a nutshell what be the standard means. And if you're going to be leading a group of people, you have to be in the trenches with them. They have to be able to see Jared's not above the broom. I'm there most of my day, longer than anybody else. But with that, not only do I hold my team accountable to the standards, but they manage up because I'm not perfect. One of my biggest flaws is, organizational skills. So I delegated that and I hired somebody to help with that, to help build out and organize systems and procedures and build out the back end of the business because it's not my strong suit. So Leading from the front is super, super important, but not being too prideful, if you will, to know that you're not perfect and you're gonna make mistakes, and get the insight from your team. I might have this vision of a way of doing something, and then most people are like, I don't think we should do it that way. And not being too prideful to be like, you guys are wrong. We're gonna do it my way. It's like, okay, I see what you guys are saying. You guys all think this way. Let's give it a shot. Might work, might not. My call either way, Emma's call either way. So like our call. But at the end of the day, we have to make decisions that, you know, we believe are best for the business, but we also lead a group of people, you know, and all of us lead from the front. So yeah, we lead from the front as far as like what we do as ownership, but you know, we're all pretty much equals in this studio. It's a very, very, you know, small team. I believe 13 people right now. So we're all in the trenches together every single day.
I like that. I like the fact that, you know, you valued that team effort. You valued the fact that other people can bring things to the table that you might be lacking in. With that being said, I think it's a great way for us to talk about all these collaborations that you've done with other businesses, because you're one of those businesses that I see that, just like how you lead in the forefront, you lead by example, you've also taken two other companies that I know of, and you've put them in the forefront of your business to help you scale and to also help them scale. Right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, I'm talking about Valley Prep and Resistance Strength. Could you get into those and tell me how that's worked for you and why you decided to even get into those collaborations?
I mean, what kind of gym would bring in another gym and cross market their customers?
That says a lot.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
You know,
that says a lot right there.
It's a
Yeah.
totally left field idea. And, you know, Valley Prep, will hit on them first. It's one of those things, and the person's no longer with us, but we had like our weekly team huddle at the time, and we're just bouncing some ideas back and forth with the crew that we had, and wanted to find ways to bring more partner locations in and increase our members' experience, because now we're starting to build out this discount program or this partnership program where people who belong to our studio can have access to different businesses around the Lehigh Valley and have exclusive membership perks, right? Like a benefit of being at the studio outside of their fitness goals. And somebody had mentioned, you know, I keep seeing this place, Valley Prep. And I'll be honest, and I won't throw any names out there, but at first I thought Valley Prep was like in cahoots with this other gym that we didn't have like great chemistry with. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And then I realized I was wrong. So I reached out, John and Tatiana, they swung by, great people. Like the conversation was super natural. I could tell that they were great people. I mean, you know, they had a son and, you know, they were pregnant. Emma was pregnant. They were like, you know, husband-wife duo running their thing. We're husband-wife duo. We had a lot in common, and we had like similar interests and goals of like what we were trying to do for people. So not only was it awesome as far as benefits go for our people, but it was a way for us to help them and them for us to equally help us. And there are, I believe the last time I checked, 980 some thousand people in the Lehigh Valley, just shy of 1 million people. You're telling me that there is not enough pieces of the pie for us to all share and grow together, and anybody who tells you otherwise is a fucking liar. You know, there's enough pieces of the pie for all of us to get our piece and everybody to win. Even if several other spin studios pop up like some have, right? There's enough for everybody to win. I don't need to compete with you. You know, we're doing our own thing. We have our own identity. We have our own mission. Like, cool. You want to open up, give it a shot. It's one of the hardest fucking things you can do. I wish you luck. But like, we don't compete with other people. So with that comes the idea of bringing resistance in. And the funny thing about resistance is I was searching for a gym, honestly. And, you know, you filmed us at our place and very limited, right? And we were running a PT program out of it, very cheap PT program. And, you know, we're building the proof of concept at that time. It's like, hey, we want to add this. It's really tough for us to do it at our place. Our place is small. We do have a downstairs, not well suited for it. So we started running a PT program out of our apartment gym.
PT is physical training for those that
Personal training, yeah, personal training. So started running small group personal training of up to 3 people in that facility. But, you know, if we had 2 other residents in there, all of a sudden it's like it lessens their experience. So I was looking personally for some place for me to work out, specifically focusing on my legs. Okay, I wanted some nice leg machines. So I keep seeing ads for this place, ads for this place. One day I look them up. They're right down the street off Tillman, right next to Staples. I'm like, damn, that's so close. But I have the son. I don't know how it's going to work out. And then I submitted a form. Connor calls me. Shout out Connor. Connor calls me, books me for a tour. I go in, and he's showing me around. There's this one guy squatting, and he's like, "This is Rob, the owner." I'm like, cool. Introduce me to him if you can. So real quick, introduced myself to Rob. Didn't want to interrupt his lift. I'm like, hey, I have a really cool idea, you know, for your place that I think you're going to love. Would love to connect with you another time and just, you know, see what you think of it. So exchanged numbers. About a week later, Emma, Ash, and myself, we went over there, you know, talked some ideas. And at that point in time, it couldn't really like, yes, let's do that, shake hands, pen to paper kind of thing. So like another 2 weeks goes by, and I shot him another idea, and he's like, I love that. So then it just came to be. And the biggest reason that we did it is, again, to increase our member experience. Like, everybody wins in this deal. Like, we want to increase our member experience because our facility, our classes do not solve every problem. They solve a lot of problems, but they do not solve every problem. And for something like that, right, giving them access to a facility and teaching them how to strength train and bringing our community into a free weight kind of gym like that, where they feel comfortable and confident. And when they walk in at 5 a.m, if they're not spinning, they see 4 or 6 of their other friends there, right, training. Now, not only are they building and protecting muscle, but they're shedding fat in our place. They're learning how to eat right. They have the perfect 3-step combo to really get what they're after. And now we solve all their problems. But Rob, you know, he has a place F13 in the back, one of the most successful studios in the Lehigh Valley, bar none. And he's been around for 11 years. Like, that says something about his success rate, 11 years. So he built out Resistance in an old tire place or old auto parts store. And he's brand new. I think he opened in November, if I'm not correct, or if I'm incorrect. And it helps him get more people in his door, right? So we have a ton of members over there. I think like 13 maybe, 13, 14 of members from our studio who pay on their own. And now we have, you know, just shy of almost a dozen people on our PT program, which we pay for their membership there. And then, you know, in our partnership agreement, you know, we cut him a pretty nice check to utilize this facility. He wins. Everybody wins, right? So we can build together, and we're both better because of it. And with that, you know, we have a meeting that next week where I don't know how much you know about like our pediatric cancer fundraiser we do every year.
Nothing.
But it's one of Lehigh Valley Children's Hospital's biggest single pediatric cancer fundraiser that we fundraise for the PCFLV, which is the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for the Lehigh Valley's Family Assistance Fund. Okay, big difference between the two organizations. But, you know, the last year we raised 18 grand. The year before that, we did over 30 grand. So it's like, it's a lot in a single event, right? So now we're going to come together and we're going to co-host this event.
Very cool.
So tell me that we're not better because of it. Tell me that we can't help each other grow and impact more lives by coming together, by bridging our resources to bring 2 minds together and really just expanding our impact on people. You know, if you tell me that we can't make a bigger impact as a team rather than trying to compete for people or, you know, talk shit on, you know, a different facility, like, no, you're out of your mind.
I like that. So for those that don't know, can you explain to me briefly what Valley Prep is and what Resistance Strength is?
Yeah, so Valley Prep is a meal prep service, and what they have a couple different options that you could do. They have like a low calorie plan, they have a keto plan, which is pretty much cut carbs, replaced with high fats. They have a bulk plan, which is high carbs if you're looking to grow muscle. Then they have a prep by the pound option, which I love. And I've gone back and forth between the bulk and the prep by the pound. But prep by the pound, you get to pick your proteins, pick your carbs, pick your veggies, pick your fats rather too. and pair things together so you have total control of your macros. So like if you're really big on like tracking your specific macros and you have specific goals, they have an option for you. If you're looking to fuel your muscles and you need a ton of carbs, like I do right now with my specific goals, I'm on their bulk plan. You know, I'm eating almost 400 grams of carbs per day. So it's like really carb heavy meals. If you're looking to lose fat while protecting muscle, their low-cal options are great for that, or their keto options, you know, if you're, you know, into that kind of nutrition plan as well. So they have a little bit of everything, you know, to suit a lot of people. And they have a couple different ways where the partnership makes a lot of sense for different people. You know, for 6 Cycles specifically, people save on delivery fees because it gets delivered to our studio fresh throughout the week on Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays. If people want it delivered to their homes, okay, they have drivers who are super professional. They're great to talk to, you know, built relationships with several of them. And, you know, they'll take it to your doorstep. They'll text you when it's there. If you want to go pick it up, you know, I believe it's 9th and Hamilton.
Yep.
I believe that's the intersection. Yeah, 9th and Hamilton is their storefront. You can go and pick it up. You can call them when you're there. They'll take it out to your car, you know? And if something's incorrect, which is very rare, they always make it right without any questions.
I like that. So on the flip side now, what is resistance strength for those that don't know?
Yeah, resistance strength is an open gym format. You know, it's owned by Rob, like I said, the owner of F13, which is a totally different modality in the back. But resistance is our specific partnership. And yeah, it's just an open gym format. Like think Planet Fitness, but like 10 levels above. You know, 10 levels above. And you know, their gym's values and who they speak to and their demographic and their mission aligns so perfectly with 6 Cycles, where we talk to the same kind of people. So it just makes a lot of sense. You know, like we say, be the standard, right? Like their big thing is reject mediocrity. You know, those two things go hand in hand, you know, of the kind of person that we're looking to work with.
So with that being said, you have all these collaborations that you work with, all these places that help, you know, make the 6 Cycle picture even bigger. You're a one-stop shop, right? If I walk in and I need some help, how do you guide me and direct me by giving me all those tools to me?
Yeah, well, it's really just starts with like an intake process, like understanding, you know, your background, what has worked for you, what has not worked for you, the biggest things that you're trying to accomplish and you know, what you've done in the past to accomplish them. And once you really understand what someone's going through and what they're looking to do, then it really allows you to create a program around that person, right? So we have our ride program, which is just the spin part. So if someone wants to come and spin, or they have a set of goals that's going to fix on its own, perfect. You know, we'll get them enrolled in that. If somebody needs some help strength training or learning how to be comfortable in a gym setting, or they love to run and they have their own cardio program, but they're looking for some help just strength training and building and toning and maintaining muscle, right? We have a program for that. That's our strength program. And if somebody really wants and or needs our, you know, the total transformation plan, which we call the strength and ride, then it's like those two plans, but merged together where somebody gets, you know, 5 designated sessions with us every single week. And it doesn't matter what program you're on, you will get nutrition coaching, you will get the accountability, you'll get the structure. It's just really understanding the person in front of you, their goals, and where they've been before to make sure that our programs will get them to where they want to be. You know, so it comes with understanding people and finding a problem to solve and then giving them the best path forward and then helping them make that change, you know?
I like that. So coming to this point, right, you have all these options available to you. You've been able to help take 6 Cycle and really implement these systems, set these core values to really make it a successful business, right? So if I were to ask you now, what does success actually mean to you now? Having already achieved some of these, you know, goals and things you wanted to accomplish, what does it look like to you now?
As far as like where we want to go, or just kind of overall, how do you mean by that question?
So yeah, I think in a sense, like, because for you, I feel like you're the type of person that you set a goal, you go and get it, and now there's a new goal, right? You're kind of always striving and you like the process. You like the fact that, okay, I'm reaching something else. Like what's the next line of success for the business itself?
Okay. Yeah, so the finish line's always moving, right? If you just cross the finish line, it's like, what's next? There's a reason that people like Elon and Bezos and Andy Frisella and all these people, like, they have billion-dollar businesses, but they're always doing more. Like, once you hit a mountain peak or you reach a certain level, then the line just moves in front of you. It's like you're never done chasing that next big thing. So yeah, it's like every year we've had, our next best year ever. And it is cool in a sense to be able to see like, damn, okay, you look back on the past year, like 2025, for example, had to rebuild again, had to redevelop programs, had to understand the kind of, clientele and the kind of members that we want to invite into our community by learning the lessons of what a bad one looks like. So it's like when you understand that you've had some adversity that year and then you've overcome it and you've still done a lot better than you have the year prior. I feel like that's like the thing with us is we want to just keep growing and keep learning. So it's every year to have our next best year ever, and in that best year ever, we had some down months. So it's very similar to like people in their fitness, right? It's like one day doesn't ruin you. One bad week doesn't really ruin you, but you have to be consistent throughout the course of your journey. And if you can do that, then you'll always continue to grow. So the biggest benchmark that we have, Nick, is really moving out of our location and moving into an upgraded space.
Okay.
That's the first step. We want to accomplish that first. And once we do that, then the line's going to move again. And let's get a second space. Then let's get more spaces. Then let's grow a bigger team because right now we have one studio problems. I don't have 2 studio problems. I don't have 5 location problems. I have 1 location problem. So yeah, that's the biggest thing for sure. But just make sure that the line always keeps moving. We cross it, we identify it, cross it again, and we keep doing that.
I love that. I think it's cool though that you took the time to really figure out how to effectively run one, right? Implement the systems, the values, and all that good stuff. So then you can duplicate it somewhere else, right? I think that's the easiest way to really be able to scale. But you took all those leaps and were able to really successfully do that. And again, the finish line always moves. So it's cool to really think that there's more to come, right?
Yeah. I would say like success is a hard thing to say that, I am or we are because we still missed our mark like pretty wildly of what we had planned, for this past year. So it's like our goal was a certain number and we accomplished less than that, but we still did better than the year prior. So it's still a win, but it's like we're just really never satisfied with where we are. So there's always more. There's always more we could have done. Like looking back on the year, there's always more that we could have accomplished to possibly have like gotten out of our location this year, right? Is it possible? Sure. Yeah. So I don't feel like we're a success yet. Are we in the sense of who we are? Sure. But yeah, I'm super hungry still.
Well, that's good. That's good. That says a lot about you and what you strive for in the long run. I think you have all the pieces put together, and this is probably going to be your guys' best year, right? Because now everything's kind of put in place, and it's giving you the opportunity to really take it to that next step. There's a lot of things that you probably learned last year that if you didn't have those in place, that's maybe a reason you didn't get to where you wanted to be. But now you kind of have everything in place, right?
Yeah.
With that being said, for anybody that's watching this, right, and wants to start a business and get into the fitness industry, what are some things that you could tell that person that would help them get to that point a little bit faster?
What point specifically?
So a point of running a sustainable business, to a point of, when you first came into Six Cycle, there was all these pieces missing, right? And you were the person to come in and kind of fill those pieces, right? But as a person that's never run a business before, how would you have helped them fast track that? Instead of, because they don't have a Jared, but they have a Jared interview, right? So what are some key things that you would tell them they need to have in line that's going to help their business structure correctly and have that chance to be as successful as a Six Cycle?
Yeah. And the funny thing about business is it's always going to change. Like if you look at someone who I look up to a lot, Alex Hormozy, when he started He's a multi-billion-dollar business owner as well. When he started, he owned gyms, and then he scaled gyms, right? And then he had multiple locations, and he sold his gym business, and then he, opened up a business that was strictly built on helping gyms scale, and then he built that, and then he, exited from that, and now he helps businesses scale. All different types of businesses scale, and now he's doing that. So what he started with wasn't always just the end thing. So I would say, like, if you have an idea, right, and you have this proof of concept that you have, just go prove to yourself that it's a great idea or it's a shit idea, and then move on to the next thing rather quickly. So what started off, when Emma had this vision of 6 Cycle is a lot different than it is right now, and maybe one day we exit from this and we move on to the next best thing. Like, same thing that Elon Musk did, or Jeff Bezos. Amazon was a bookstore. It's not a bookstore anymore. It's an everything store. So things are always going to change. You see a problem, you can solve it, you pivot, you change, you solve problems. So find a problem that you can solve, be really, really good at it, acquire skills, always look for new skills, and just don't be too prideful that your idea is so good that you miss the next best thing. I would say that's the biggest thing that I've learned, and just by studying guys like this and then seeing how they move and what they've done, like, things are always changing and evolving, and you notice a new need or a new niche that you can transition into and make a bigger impact on people's lives, then don't be too prideful that this is the one thing that you have to do. It's why we expanded and brought on a partner like Resistance, so we can add this to our members' lifestyles, by coming together, getting our people into their facility, utilizing their facility to host workouts for people who are on our PT program. Totally different than, when 6 Cycle first opened. So it's already evolving, in front of a lot of people's faces.
Yeah, that's cool. There's a huge growth in there. And it's cool that how you say, with Emma, she didn't think 6 Cycle was going to be this, and neither did you, right? And it's always evolving, always changing. So now in this chapter of your life that's evolving and changing, you are now a husband and a father.
How about that? Yeah.
Yeah. How does that make you feel? How's the journey been? Talk to me a little bit about how that's been for you.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I've known Emma my entire life, practically. I tell this to everybody, but she was my babysitter when I was young. That's usually the reaction that I get. It's pretty awesome. She's only 5 years older than me, so it's
But wait,
not...
did you have a crush on her when she was your babysitter?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, not at all. So
Okay.
she wasn't like... She took me trick-or-treating once, I think. My parents were gone, and yeah, she was friends with my brother, all that good stuff. So known her for a very long time. Life separated us. She was in a past relationship. I was in a past relationship. Her car accident happened, brought her back to the area. My relationship ended in Alabama, brought me back to the area, and here we are. So everything that has happened, in her life and in mine, have brought us together and created this life that we have. So super grateful for it, for sure. It's the best journey that I've been on. She is my absolute best friend. It's like we're pretty introverted in the sense of like we give so much value to people every single day, all day long, where when we have time, like we really just value that time to ourselves, hanging out at home, hanging out with our son, and, not really doing much socially. Like that's how we like it. But she's also my best friend. And I'm sure you probably know some people in your life too who are married and they're like, oh, the old ball and chain, the old wife got out of the bachelor. Like, that's not us. That's not us. Our relationship is so solid. I don't understand why more people don't just focus on building a solid relationship. Like, you chose this person. Fucking build it. It doesn't end when you put the ring on your finger. The work continues.
That's when it just starts, right?
That too. And I'm super grateful for where we are as well, because we have a unique situation of like we're building something together. We stay in shape together. So when people have like that disconnect and like, one person goes off at work here, one person goes off at work there, then they come home and they fucking bitch about things and all this different stuff, like the whole relationship just deteriorates, and you see it so much. Like, talk to most married people and tell me that's not the vibe of the conversation that you're getting. So we get to build something, and like not every day is sunshine and rainbows, but it's like that shit's gonna be solved right there on the spot. I'm not gonna drag this thing on and have that thing stew for a while. It's like, we'll have the uncomfortable conversation, because you have to think about it. I have uncomfortable conversations with my team and my members sometimes. Why the hell would I avoid it with my best friend and my business partner? So it's the best journey for sure. And I feel like that has an impact on like why our son is always so happy. I don't know. I'm a first-time dad. I could just be totally fucking lucky. You know what I mean? But he's the happiest little boy ever. Like, he only cries if he's hungry or he's tired. That's it. He cries. He needs one of those two things. Other than that, he's just, ah. So I feel like that plays a part in it.
No, for sure. He's going to know what he's shown. And you guys show him a good life from what it seems like. Every time I see him, he's always happy too. He's looking at the camera like,
yeah, he's just,
should I smile? Should I?
he's just stoked. And like, he loves people. So you can bring him around. It's like, he doesn't know a stranger, so yeah, it's cool, man.
So you said my best friend and my business partner.
Yeah.
For most people, that would never work.
Yeah, no, totally.
How do you guys make that work? And I'll go back to my personal life with my fiance. When I was back in my maybe 8 years ago, no, probably a little bit longer, 10 to 12 years ago, she got me a job at Forever 21 when she worked there. And
you worked at Forever 21?
Yeah, that was my last job.
Were you the fitting room guy?
Yeah, I was the stock guy. I was either folding clothes in the back or in the front and waving at people. So she got me that job, and for me, my experience was, I was young too, but it wasn't the best experience working with your loved one or your best friend, as you call it. So how were you able to make that work? And especially, you're not working for a company. You guys are the company. How are you able to find that balance at the same time while being parents?
Yeah. And I have some past experience in that, like when I was in insurance sales, my partner at that time, like I brought her into it. I'm like, yo, you should totally do this. And it was like that, just clashing all the time. I had this idea and I wanted to grow in this way. And, she didn't. And it was just like friction. To the point where it's like, you just stop paying attention to the things that matter, right? So that relationship went away. Emma and I came together. This is starting to build, and I realized like a lot of things that, I did wrong in that last part to, really just focus on this time around, like making sure that I understand where she's coming from, the ideas that she has. And, we, again, just similar to how I talked about earlier, is like we have this shared vision. In that past life of mine, we didn't have a shared vision. I had a vision. So, okay. So two people can't work towards the same vision if they don't share it. So we already share this vision, and we have different responsibilities. She doesn't do anything with sales and marketing or most like operations. She does things when it all comes to the product and the member experience, and the team building. Like, again, mostly her as far as the team building goes. Like, she is the leader. It's her place. So yeah, we kind of divide and conquer that way. And, sometimes I do, take her ideas in. Sometimes she takes mine in. And if it doesn't work, like, okay, that didn't work. What can we do next? So it's being able to really, I wouldn't even say separate those things, because there is no separation. I mean, it's just like, it's our life. We don't do anything else. Like, coach high school football, when the season comes around. But other than that, it's wake up. What's our work day? Trade off Ash, in the middle of the day. And then other than that, it's all work. So it's so much of our identity, where when we do turn it off for the night, it's like bedtime routine, that kind of thing. It's just easy. I don't know. It's just easy because we are best friends. Like, I've never had so much fun hanging out with somebody for such an extended period of time. And, we got together in 2022. So, well, it's what, 3+ years now, right? If I'm doing the math correctly. And like, I feel like we're still in the honeymoon stage to a sense. That part didn't really end. Like, some things changed, but we're still always laughing all day, every day. Like, if you can find someone to hang out with where you're always laughing, tell me that you're not just having a great time most of the time.
I like that. With that being said, what would you say to somebody that wants to get into a business with their loved one?
You better be fucking sure. It's like, because it could absolutely blow up in your face. It absolutely can. So You want to make sure that you share this vision, that you're both 100% bought in, you know, that you're literally willing to sleep under a bridge before you leave each other. So that could happen. You know, if you're building a business, you are betting every fucking thing that you have that you're going to win. And that's why the reward is so great, because you have to pay the consequences for years before it works. You have to put in the work, you have to put in the long days, the long nights, you have to get rid of friends, you have to get rid of family who don't believe in you. Like, you have to pay the ultimate sacrifice. But if it works, that's why the people at the top do so well. So if you're going to build a business with your partner, so bluntly put it, you better make damn sure that they're the person and you're ready to be in the trenches with them. Because you're going to fight for each other. You're going to probably at times like butt heads with each other. But then this is the person you decided to build your life with. Mm-hmm. And it is not something that you should like take lightly, because it's very, very challenging and you're in this thing together. So Emma and I are like total understanding of like, yo, this doesn't work. I'm sleeping under a bridge before I ever leave you. You know, we're in this shit together. We'll figure it out. So I wish you luck. But it's very, very worth it. It's very worth it.
It's definitely worth it, and it's not for everybody. So I like the transparency there. Mm-hmm. You know, what are you most proud of, not in business, but in yourself?
I'm most proud of my personal growth, because even, you know, just from a couple years ago, I'm a drastically different person. And I think I was talking to Emma about it this morning, actually, but just a lot of like immature decisions, you know, in my past life, you know, leading up to coming back home, and wasn't always the greatest person, you know, made a lot of mistakes, did a lot of bad things. And at that time, you know, specifically when, you know, my last partner and I separated, it was the lowest point in my life. You know, I was making, like you said in the intro, I was crushing as a salesperson, you know, making a lot of money on my own time, very predictable, but I had just pretty much lost everything, but it was through my actions. Like, that thing blew up because of me. And then I'm left in this new city, in this super expensive apartment, all by myself. Had a couple friends, but it's like, what the hell am I gonna do here? You know? So through that was really, I was on this journey of refiguring out who I was. And that's when like me getting in shape really started, even before, you know, I met Emma. So I'm like, looking single, might as well get ripped, you know? So through that came building confidence again, you know, because you blow up your life, everything crumbles because of you, and you're like, damn, everything around me is all my fault. Then you have no confidence. You're like, damn, I just destroyed everything. So a great way to build confidence back, no matter what you went through, is tell yourself you're going to get to the gym and get there, and then do something hard, and then bam, you just had a win. And then just continue to stack those things. So really just a ton of work and self-development in my fitness, through reading, through just understanding like a relationship that I wanted to be in, and the man that I needed to be to have the kind of relationship that I wanted to have. Because I couldn't have the kind of relationship I wanted to have being the immature, you know, asshole that I was being before. But I had to learn that lesson, because for so long I was just that way and I got what I wanted until I didn't. It's like, that doesn't work. I can't do that. So I'm very, very proud of the man that I am. Not perfect, make a lot of mistakes, but especially embodying our studio's values and then what we've built. Like, I'm in a place where, you know, even just through this conversation, right, just for an example of someone who doesn't know me, like, my entire life is my fault, good, bad, indifferent. And that part alone has really helped me like take control and get, you know, things back in the confidence level that I have to know that I can go out and pretty much do anything, because I'm going to follow through on my own promises.
Well, I'm proud of you too, bro.
Thanks, dude.
Very proud of you.
It's tough, but like, I love, as long as they're not too costly, okay? But like, I love making mistakes, because that's where the biggest lessons are made. And so many people are afraid to fall on their face. Like, I don't want to try that. Like, I'll look dumb. I want to try that. I don't know what I'm doing. What if I don't? Well, what the fuck if you do? Mm-hmm. And that's where I've learned my biggest lessons, man. It's just through error, but just understanding like, okay, 2 + 2 = 4. Don't do that again.
Yeah, don't do that again. And that's how you build the real growth, is by yourself going through it. Mm-hmm. So you could read 1,000 books, you could hear 1,000 podcasts, until the moment you're actually there in the moment, I don't think you'll really grow and learn from it.
Yeah, you need the reps.
Yeah. One thing you said is you're proud of the person that you've become from that person that was here 10 years ago, or however amount of time ago, right? Yeah. I want to leave you with this last question and ask you, what do you see Jared 10 years from now? Yeah. Where do you see him?
Yeah, still a dad of only one child.
All right.
Hopefully.
A healthy 10-year-old.
Yeah, healthy. Yeah, literally. Yeah, I mean, he'd be 11. He's 1 now. So yeah, dad of 1. You know, multiple studio business owner, investor, and just happy, man. That's the biggest thing. Like building the business to a point where it's sustainable. People are running it without us. You know, not that we don't want to do work, but it's like our job as a business owner, you know, probably even relates to a prior question that you asked. It's like our job is not to be in the business, it's to be working on it, right? Continue to improve and then delegate downwards, you know, to your team who can handle and grow without you in the operations. So having it to, you know, that point and just being able to build a good lifestyle, you know, with my family.
I love it. Well, Jared, thank you for your time today. Thank you for coming on the platform. I couldn't have started my day 1 without you on here. So thank you, my man.
Totally,
appreciate
bro.
you.
Absolutely.